I have spent over $100 on this convention, and they still owe me dollars. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. All right. I haven't posted in I don't even know how many weeks.
Feel more.
And all of a sudden I get the motivation to post a video during finals week. Yay! Hi everyone, my name is Dakota and welcome back to my channel. We're here, we talk about everything superhero related, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about Kreatia Entertainment. Now, as of right now recording this, I still do not know what I'm titling this video because I'm going back and forth between so many titles, but we're going to be talking about Kreatia Entertainment because I feel like this is a semi-popular convention, but I don't see a lot of videos talking about it. And even before I went to the convention looking for other people who went, I couldn't find that much. So I thought I would share my experience, and yeah. Now, before we get started, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I have nothing against the celebrities that I got a chance to meet. They did absolutely nothing wrong. None of the complaints or critiques I'm going to give in this video is directed towards them. Everything I say in this video is solely for the purpose of the convention itself, which is Kreatia Entertainment. I still had really great interactions with them, and I got to give them little gifts, and it still was a really fun day overall. It's just some things could have been handled better, but once again, not the actor's fault. Kreatia Entertainment is at fault for everything in this video. And really quickly, one last thing before we get into the actual video. I have an Etsy. I make really cool necklaces that you don't want to miss out on. The link is in the description down below. And because my YouTube audience is so special, I'm giving you a discount code. When you use DAK YouTube, that's D-A-K YouTube, you will get 10% off your first order. The link is in the description down below. And while you're down there, go ahead and follow my Instagram. One last disclaimer before we get started. I do want to just say that everything that I'll be saying in this video is based off of my convention experience and the convention that I went to. Kreatia Entertainment's more known for their Supernatural and Vampire Diary conventions, and given this is a boys convention, this was very different for them, and because this was my first convention with them, obviously my experience is going to be different. So I just wanted to quickly mention that before we get started. So starting with photo ops and autographs, I actually liked how this convention handled them. So panels were in the beginning of the day and they stopped around 5 o'clock, and then autographs were for the rest of the convention, and the photo ops were in between the panels and you got caught up by groups, so it wasn't everyone coming together at once. I genuinely like how they handled autographs because I feel like at any other convention, I'm either missing panels or missing other autographs because I'm in an autograph line for hours and hours. I don't have time to walk around the rest of the convention. But because the autographs were at the end, all of the events for the day were already over, and I got to just sit and wait for the autographs, which is another thing that I want to get to. The way you're called for autographs is by row, and your row is determined by what ticket you buy. So there's a bunch of different packages. There's a gold package, a silver, a bronze, a general admission, a general preferred admission. There's a bunch. And obviously, the more you pay, the quicker you're going to get your autograph. So those with gold passes had the opportunity to get, I think, 2 free autographs within their pass, and they got called up first for every autograph table. But honestly, it did not really matter what time you went up because they were not checking. I remember there was a general admission weekend pass, and then there's a general admission preferred single day pass, and I had the preferred single day pass, and I went up with the weekend pass people anyway because they genuinely weren't calling us, so I just went up anyway. And I had multiple autographs, and I was scared I was gonna miss some, and I knew I couldn't come back the next day for more autographs because I had traveled pretty far for this convention. So I just went up at the time I thought was right, and it didn't really matter. Another thing too with the passes, I actually was going to buy a silver pass, and I am so glad that I didn't. With the passes, it gives you a specific seat in the theater, and I can see why you would want to pay more for a better seat because for most of the day you are in the theater. So those with gold passes obviously got to sit up right against the stage, those with silver right behind, and so on. And of course, general admission had to sit farther back, but honestly, the theater wasn't that big, so general admission was maybe 10 inches behind the silver passes. And because of the amount of people who were at this convention, I honestly ended up sitting in the gold pass row because the theater was empty. Which leads me into my next point. The amount of people at this convention was honestly concerning. It was maybe max 100 people, and I'm not even joking. Now, I will mention Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander, kind of like the main character in The Boys, if you can call him that. He did cancel 2 weeks before the convention, so a lot of people probably ended up not coming because he canceled, and that might have been the only person they were coming for. So that could have been a reason for the amount of people, but just in general, there was not a lot of people at that convention. And this could be due to so many reasons. Like I said, Anthony Starr canceled 2 weeks before, and I feel like they didn't promote it enough. I posted this convention on my TikTok, and I had so many people in my comments saying like, oh my god, how did you find out about this convention? Like, I had no idea. So I think it really just boiled down to the fact that the convention wasn't really promoted enough, and there was a cancellation of a headlining guest that probably a lot of people were planning on seeing, including myself. And honestly, if I didn't buy any other photo ops or autographs, I probably would have just skipped the convention and lost out on the money for the admission tickets. Because like all other conventions, admission tickets are non-refundable. And since we're on the topic of tickets, let's talk about those ticket prices. These tickets were more expensive than New York City Comic Con. I'm just gonna say that. I've been scrolling through the comments on Creation Entertainment just to see what other people are saying about the convention, and a lot of people agree with me. There are some people who even say they've spent more here than at New York City Comic Con, which to me is so crazy because New York City Comic Con is such a huge convention, and you get way more out of New York City Comic Con than you would Creation Entertainment. It's definitely safe to say that Creation Entertainment is my most expensive convention, and I got the least amount of stuff. I honestly didn't realize until I saw what other people are saying because I've never bought this many autographs and photo ops at once, so I kind of just thought that was the normal price. But looking back on it now, I can see that they definitely overcharge. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I ended up spending about $450 just on admission for 2 people, and I got 3 autographs and 1 photo op, which honestly is a lot considering these aren't A-list actors, and it just shouldn't have been that much. I have literally met Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen for less at bigger conventions. The over $450 I spent doesn't even include food or gas because once again, I did travel for this convention. And since we're talking about food, the convention did have food. I don't know if it was provided by the convention or the hotel itself, but they did have food set out, and it wasn't really warm. And it was kind of overpriced. And once again, I didn't have cash. Straight up shit. Yeah, I know. I made a Comic-Con tips video and I didn't even follow my own tips. I know. I didn't take into consideration that it was inside a hotel and it was freezing. I had on short sleeves and jeans and I was shivering the entire day. I literally bought this shirt from the convention just so I could have like an extra layer on. It was so cold. And for food wise, we ate inside of a restaurant in the hotel itself because the food looked better and it was cheaper. So we got a hot meal and it was pretty good. Way better than the convention food. You could tell they try and get you because the convention itself was at a hotel where it was kind of like in the middle of nowhere and you couldn't really like leave real quick and get some food or whatever. So you had to kind of eat while you were there. But luckily the restaurant was pretty good and it wasn't breaking the bank. Now let's talk a little bit about the employees and the Q&As that were held. So the employees for the most part were pretty nice and understanding. I did have to ask a few questions and they were very helpful. So that's a plus because I've definitely had some bad experiences with convention employees. You know, you get some really good ones and some not so great ones. And you could tell that the employees were fans of the show themselves because at the end of the night, they were right in line with us to get autographs. So for the panels, they were all Q&As and there wasn't a moderator, which I kind of liked and kind of didn't. I'm used to there being a moderator and a Q&A at the end. But because there was no moderator, the entire panel was Q&A and ran by fans. And this was great because it allows more time for interaction between the fans. Another thing that I really liked was there was a moderator at both of the microphones, and you would have to tell them your question before you actually said it into the microphone. That way they could kind of, for lack of a better word, get rid of dumb questions. And I talked about this in my other video too, about not to repeat questions or ask uncomfortable questions. One moment during Erin Moriarty's panel, and there's a really uncomfortable question asked, and you could tell like the tone in the room just shifted, and Erin herself was uncomfortable, and it was just weird. It was towards the end of the panel, so luckily she didn't have to stay up there for that much longer, but it was just kind of weird, and I was like, how is this even allowed? But for the most part, they were doing their job and making sure that the questions were repeats. And they did send some people back. Like, I had some people in front of me in line who told them the question, and they're like, I don't really think that's really a good question to ask. They kind of talked you through it and helped you maybe come up with a different question, or they just sent you back to your seat. Another thing with this convention, because there was not that many people, I literally got to walk up to the microphone. And if you go to a lot of conventions, you know the walk to the microphone is more like a sprint. I remember my first convention I went to, I was in line for the entire panel, and I was the very last question. And the line for the panel literally wrapped around the room. But for this convention, you could literally get up, walk. I think halfway through a panel, I got up and thought of a question, walked over there and asked it, and I got to talk to every single guest that was there, which was great, and I just didn't feel rushed. And another thing about this convention, it was all older people. I myself was the youngest person at the convention, and I'm not even kidding when I say that, which I kind of expected because The Boys does have a older demographic given the context of the show, but I was expecting, like, I don't know, young adults there. I don't know. I don't really know. I was expecting some people around my age to be there, but it was all just older people, and it was kind of like, I don't know. The vibe was weird. And I'm going to leave it at that. Moving on to the vendor room, this was extremely disappointing. I fully planned out my day like, okay, we're going to go to this panel and then we're going to cut out some time for shopping, because shopping is like one of the biggest aspects of a convention. I was extremely underwhelmed when I saw the vendor room. All on the website, you see like the list of vendors and pictures from other conventions of how full the room is, and I got in there and there was 3 tables set up, and they were all tables like from Creation Entertainment themselves. No vendors signed up for this convention, and I wish I got a video of this room, but because there was no one in there, I felt so awkward recording the room. They had like 6 long tables set up in the middle, and they would put your printed out photos for when your photo op was ready to get picked up. So that table was for that. And they had a author at another table. It was a book related to The Boys. And then they had merch for a band that was there. It was Rob Benedict's band. And then on the other side of the room was a table with maybe 5 shirts and 5 of these like long sleeve shirts. I mean, they're not really long sleeve, but they had like 5 different versions of this, 5 t-shirts, some mugs, drawstring bags, and photos for you to buy to get autographed. And that was it. And let me tell you, oh my god, the prices of these shirts were insane. Look, I get that conventions are expensive, and I am no stranger to them, but these shirts were so expensive for no reason. Now, I did end up buying them, 1, because I was freezing and I needed this shirt, and 2, because they were shirts that I haven't seen before. And The Boys is kind of hard to shop for. You don't really see that much merch for that show except for their Amazon storefront. So I did end up getting a shirt because I like to remember the experience that I had, even if it wasn't a great one. And now finally moving on to the drama that I have with Creation Entertainment. So as I said earlier, Antony Starr canceled 2 weeks before the convention, and they said obviously you would be getting a refund for your photo op or autograph that you purchased. And I purchased a photo op and an autograph. I think the photo op was $150 and the autograph was $100. which now that I'm saying that out loud is kind of crazy to spend on one person. This is honestly so embarrassing to say out loud, and it sounds like a scam, but I have never waited this long for a refund from a convention. I was expecting maybe like 2 weeks max, but on the website it says 6 to 8 weeks. Now 6 to 8 weeks is already an insane amount of time to wait for a refund, but I was like, you know what, I've never been to this convention, maybe that's how they do things, whatever. We were still 2 weeks out from the convention. So after the convention, we're now on week 3, and I'm saying, oh, I'm gonna get a refund in about 3 more weeks. And I realized that I never got an email of confirmation saying, hey, we're gonna be sending you a refund back. So I decided to email them and say like, hey, what's going on? And I got an email back that I wouldn't expect a refund for 8 to 10 weeks. And not only that, it was 8 to 10 weeks after the convention date, which they failed to mention on their website. And on their website right now, it still says 6 to 8 weeks. But after contacting customer service, they told me 8 to 10 weeks after the convention. So I already thought I was 3 weeks into my waiting period, and now I had to restart all the way at 8 to 10 weeks. So I'm like, okay, this is a little crazy that I have to wait 8 to 10 weeks for a refund, but it's whatever. I can't really do anything about it. So now we're at the 6-week mark, and I go back in the comments on the Instagram post and realize that some people are saying that they already got their refund for Antony Starr. And I'm sitting here like, where's my refund? I'm expecting $250 from these people. So after reading some comments of people getting their refunds already, I decided to send another email to Creation Entertainment saying, hey, your website says 6 to 8 weeks. I got told 8 to 10. Still haven't received any emails, like what's going on? And I just got an email back today that, pulling up my email right now, it is 6:16 right now, and I got a email at 4:26, and now they're looping in the head of their ticketing department, and they found out my like order information, and apparently the ticketing department now is going to help me with my refund, which I feel like I'm begging for my money back. I feel like I shouldn't have had to do all of this just to get my refund, and something definitely went wrong because I should have had it by now. I didn't get any emails like saying, hey, your refund's on the way, or hey, Antony Starr canceled. Like, I got absolutely nothing. The communication was non-existent. Well, my phone died while recording this video, so I'm going to take that as a sign to wrap things up. I don't think I'll be going to another Creation Entertainment convention, nor would I recommend anyone else to go to one, but never say never. I know there's another one coming to a location way closer to me sometime next year, so I might go to that one, see if I get a different experience, and able to make an update to this video. I don't know. Please let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. I have a ton of videos planned for you guys. I just need to get through finals week, so bear with me. And I appreciate all the support I've gotten this far. And yeah, be sure to like and subscribe and comment what you want to see next. Bye.